This page is the cover of Famimaga 64 magazine, featuring Mario Kart 64 with a cake decorated in the style of the game. The cover promotes a 150-hour strategy guide for Mario Kart 64, with tips for mastering techniques, navigating all 16 courses, and dominating battle mode. It also advertises in-depth coverage of Hyperspatial Niter Pro Baseball King, Wonder Project J2, Street Fighter 02, and Dragon Quest II. There's also a section highlighting Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, a sumo game, J-League Perfect Striker, and Super Robot Spirits. The magazine costs 590 yen. The next page is an advertisement for Mini 4 WDGB Let's Go! A Game Boy game where you can completely simulate Mini 4 WD racing. It boasts the ability to tune up your cars with realistic parts and compete in heated battles. A special limited edition includes a shining scorpion full cowl body. The game is scheduled for release in February 1997, priced at 5,500 yen, while the Super Famicom game with the same concept is already released for 8,800 yen. This page is an advertisement for the Super Famicom game Mini Yonku Shining Scorpion Let's Go, a Mini 4 WD racing simulation RPG where you can collect upgrade parts to tune your machine and compete with characters from the popular anime Let's Go. It highlights the game's free battle mode for up to 5 players and the use of password entry or the TurboFile Twin for data saving. Additionally, it promotes the TurboFile Twin, a memory device for saving car settings and battling friends, and the ASC2 Grip, a one-handed controller for easier play. The game release date is December 20th. The next page is an advertisement for the Super Famicom game, Super Bomberman 5. It features a golden Bomberman character with an angry expression holding a golden horn. It also promotes a limited edition Bobdaman figure from Hudson. There is also contact information for Hudson Humor Access Network. The advertisement highlights the game's support for up to 5 players using the Super Famicom Multitap, and references the All Japan Brudaman Association, with an image of a man in a yellow jacket holding a Brudaman figure, identified as the Master Strategy King. This page is a promotional advertisement for the Super Famicom game Bomberman Bideman. It's geared towards Bideman enthusiasts. The game, which is coming out on December 20th, will cost 5,980 yen. The page highlights the game's features, including a normal mode with 100 stages set across various arenas, like forests, beaches, space, and JBA arenas. It also showcases a battle mode for up to 4 players. The ad boasts about mastering bombing techniques to become the strongest Bebdaman player. It includes Hudson's contact information for their homepage and a Honey-chan's internet site. The next page is the contents page for issue number 13 of a magazine, published on December 27, 1996. The page lists the magazine's contents, including strategy guides and features for games on the Nintendo 64 and Super Famicom. Featured games include Hyperspatial Niter Pro Baseball King, Super Dragon Quest II, Wonder Project J2, Street Fighter 02, and 64 Great Sumo Tournament. There is also a section for readers to submit minigame ideas. Other sections include Famimaga 64 Ranking Box, Reader Presence, Satellaview Station, RGB Maniacs, New Ultra Techniques for Super Donkey Kong, Wonder Project J2, and other titles. The page also mentions a new game calendar and a section for calendar early bird information. Contact information for the magazine is provided at the bottom of the page. The next page is a contents page for a gaming magazine, likely Famimaga 64, issue 13, dated December 27, 1996. The magazine highlights strategies and features for Nintendo 64 and Super Famicom games, including Mario Kart 64, Blastozer, Super Robot Spirits, and J-League Perfect Striker. There are also sections on Donald Duck's Maui Mallard and Mask. The page also features articles on Quanpa SFC, Super Black Bass Pocket, Bomberman GB3, and Snoopy's First Errand, as well as an interview with the developers of Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. A section for reader-submitted content is also highlighted. The next page is a full-page advertisement for Mario Kart 64. It features promotional artwork of the game with Donkey Kong, Mario, Peach and Wario racing on a tropical track. The tagline references 16 courses and fastest points, and it mentions the release date of December 14th, with a price of 9,800 yen for the N64 version, and details about the 96 meters game size. This page is an article covering Mario Kart 64. The page highlights system strategy, race mode strategy, and battle mode strategy. The tagline states, "They have spent 9,000 minutes perfecting the fastest racing techniques." It promises to fully reveal the techniques for cutting straps and running points, and states that the checkered flag will wave for you. The system strategy section on page 10 promises to reveal secret techniques and effective ways to use items. The race mode strategy on page 18 analyzes technical points of all 16 courses, and the editors will rewrite the set target times. Finally, the battle mode strategy on page 36 offers essential techniques that you can't teach rivals. The next page is a guide on how to play Mario Kart 64, covering the basic controls, first explaining how to handle the kart. It details using the accelerator, drifting, and other techniques. The guide shows the Nintendo 64 controller and explains the functions of each button, including camera changes with the C buttons, item use with the Z trigger, steering with the 3D stick, and braking with the B button. It also covers advanced maneuvers, such as spin turns and backdriving. The page shows different camera angles and explains the on-screen display, the options for BGM volume, and also includes tips for performing a rocket start by timing the accelerator with the signal lights. This page is also a guide for Mario Kart 64, focusing on drifting techniques to improve cornering speed. It explains that drifting is essential for maintaining high speeds around corners. It breaks down the drifting process into 3 stages, each indicated by the color of the smoke emitted from the kart: white, yellow, and red. The guide details how to initiate and progress through these stages using the R button and the control stick. It also highlights the importance of quick finger movements and proper timing for executing consecutive mini-turbos, particularly on long corners. The page emphasizes the need to adjust the kart's posture while accelerating and repeating the drift mini-turbo sequence. The next page delves into the character selection of Mario Kart 64, highlighting the unique traits of each of the 8 racers, and advising players to choose a character that suits their playstyle. The page divides the characters into 3 weight classes: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. Lightweight characters, like Toad, excel at drifting and can maintain high speeds, but are easily spun out. Middleweight characters, like Mario and Luigi, offer a balanced performance and are easy to control. Heavyweight characters are prone to spinning out and can lose time due to item attacks. Each character is depicted in action, with descriptions of their strengths and weaknesses. Peach is the fastest, Yoshi is easy to handle, Mario has balanced stats, and Luigi has a bad restart. The page also offers tips on how to play each character effectively, with details on techniques like dash starts and drifting, depending on which character you choose. It also comments that Mario and Luigi both have a weakness, in that the time it takes to get up to top speed is the slowest. This page is all about Mario Kart 64 character analysis and kart stats. The page highlights the strengths and weaknesses of heavyweight characters like Wario, Donkey Kong, and Bowser, noting their ability to knock other racers around. The page advises caution while playing as these characters, as they can easily lose speed when driving off-road. There are charts showing kart performance data, including acceleration, top speed, and mini-turbo speed for each weight class. There is also a chart on the body check and how much spin your character will have. The page also compares the speed of karts when using items like Superstar and Mushrooms. The page advises you to test all characters and vehicles to see which suits you and your playstyle. This page details item usage in Mario Kart 64, advising players to master item deployment for victory. It introduces the 14 different items available, highlighting the strategic advantage they offer in races. The page then shows you how to swipe item boxes to get what you need. The page shows in-game screenshots on using items and their in-game effect. It advises players to understand how each item functions to maximize their effectiveness. There are short details on how to use the green shell, red shell, spiny shell, bow bomb, bananas, lightning bolt, boo, and the mushroom. The next page focuses on strategic item use in Mario Kart 64. Specifically, how to use them defensively and offensively. It details the set mechanic, where items can be held behind the kart for defense, and provides advice on the single and triple item variants. Setting an item is a way to defend from incoming attacks. The page then describes the banana setup and how to use the bananas. It also shows how to use the shells for attack and defense, and how to bounce them on walls, and to try and corner the leading carts with shells. It highlights the spiny shell, explaining its limited appearance for top-ranked players, and how to use it to disrupt the race. Finally, it covers the cart barrier from the triple shells, and the importance of close-range combat with shells. This page continues the strategies for Mario Kart 64. It talks about using mushroom boosts for shortcuts, and maintaining speed off-road, emphasizing how to take advantage of them to cut down lap times. It also details the importance of knowing shortcuts and using triple mushrooms effectively. The page provides tips for how to stay ahead with invincibility using the star item, and how to avoid speed reduction when going off-road, taking advantage of wooden objects to do so. There's a section on banana placement, suggesting the banana item on narrow paths. There are offensive strategies, like using item boxes to trick opponents with bombs, and setting up item trajectories for effective hits. It also covers offensive tactics for cutting off opponents with items, and the importance of drawing opponents in for close-range item combat. This page analyzes item drops in Mario Kart 64. It explains how the game does not randomly give items, but uses patterns that influence which items appear depending on the player's position. These patterns, A, B, and C, determine item availability, with certain items being more or less common depending on the pattern. The page details the relationship between player position and item patterns, noting how pattern Keck yields more powerful items when in a lower rank. There's a section that items are predetermined, stating that it's impossible to influence the item slot with well-timed button presses. It then presents data on item drop rates based on player position, listing probabilities for various items. This page focuses on providing race mode strategies for Mario Kart 64. It highlights 3 race modes across 16 courses and offers tips on how to race faster, emphasizing the importance of understanding course layouts. The page also gives some advice on game modes, stating that the common sense of racing varies. Mario GP, VS, and Time Attack each have unique nuances, noting that what works in one mode may not apply to another. The article also notes that placing in the top 4 in Mario GP allows progression to the next course, earning trophies based on performance. The page also looks at item usage, noting that Mario Kart GP allows players to disrupt opponents with items, which are determined by position. It then highlights the benefits of using heavier characters in chaotic races, and warns against relaxing even when in the lead. The article also mentions course hazards, and the advantage of not surrendering your line to rivals. The next page in the magazine gives a strategy guide for Mario Kart 64, suggesting to win with tricky items in the Versus mode. It says that the Versus mode is almost the same as the GP mode, but it is even more of a bomb minicar, where tricky characters appear on the course. The key is to crush your enemies, and to select a character that matches your racing style. It explains the secondary effects of using items in GP mode, saying item usage can greatly affect winning or losing. Item placement, like setting up bananas to fool enemies, is also important. It also recommends checking for opponent items and using backshoots and item blocks to your advantage. It also discusses time attack mode, in which you need to get the triple mushrooms set and aim for the fastest time and perfect the course with drifts and mini turbos, and that the best times are saved to the memory pack. The page also emphasizes the importance of knowing how to find the limit, in which you can see the track layout and know the hazards, and stresses the importance of mini turbos, and mentions an item box, enemy characters, and mini cars. The next page in the magazine continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, focusing on the Luigi Circuit course within the Kanoko Cup. It sets a target time of 14,527 and recommends mastering drifting and mini-turbos for optimal performance. The guide includes a map of Luigi Circuit, marking key areas with the letter B. The text advises using up to 4 mini-turbos in the first corner, and perfecting the technique of continuous drifting. It also highlights the importance of drifting effectively through the tunnel after the downhill, and suggests using mushrooms right after drifting. Additional tips include utilizing item boxes strategically, positioning items to disrupt opponents, and recognizing when other racers are starting to target corners. This page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now focusing on the Moo Moo Farm, also called Momo Farm, course from the Mushroom Cup, Round 2. The target time is 11,978. The page provides a full course map with key areas marked with the letter B. It gives advice such as to use 2 mini turbos in the complex corners, avoiding the raised edges of the course. It also recommends rhythmic left/right drifts, avoiding driving on the inner mounds, and maintaining a central line to avoid the randomly appearing Monty moles. The guide also mentions, to avoid the Monty mole zones, use 2 mini-turbos to pass through them, and stick to the right edge of the bridge supports. It offers advice on pressuring opponents by blocking their paths on the bridge, and suggests using the bridge supports as item placement points. The next page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now covering Nokonoko Beach from the Mushroom Cup, Round 3, with a target time of 12,924. It has a full course map highlighting key areas. The guide details 3 shortcut routes, including going outside the crabs on the beach, entering a cave, and using the shallow water. It gives advice such as jumping is a time loss, and mentions that 50cc requires the use of the mushroom. The page also warns about hitting palm trees after exiting shortcuts, and how to use mushroom dashes and trigger jumps for speed. This page is a strategy guide for Mario Kart 64's Karakara Desert course from the Mushroom Cup, Round 4, with a target time of 15,287. It includes a full course map and advice on various techniques. The guide suggests lightly using turbo boosts 3 times at the first corner and notes the importance of shortening lap times. The guide highlights the second crossing, which occurs around lap 2, is critical. It's noted that trains circulate every 30 seconds, and the second crossing can occur between 4,750 seconds for the first train and 581 minute 1 second for the second train. As a general guide, it advises completing the first lap in approximately 39 seconds. The guide emphasizes considering crossing times and running accordingly. The strategy also covers a large complex corner, suggesting 2 mini-turbos. It also notes that on the second lap, 2 mushrooms can be used for a shortcut, and a light cut is recommended on the third lap. The guide also recommends using a tunnel with a star item, and finally suggests taking a bold shortcut on the second lap by cutting left immediately after a level crossing, suggesting that achieving a time in the 36-second range is difficult. Quote, "This page is a strategy guide for the Flower Cup in a racing mode. The ideal target time is 23,887. The Flower Cup consists of 4 rounds, and this guide focuses on Round 1, Kinopio Highway, Mushroom Highway. The guide advises following the vehicle in front of you, especially right after the start. Stay on the inside line unless blocked. Success in continuous mini-turbos is key. The guide suggests adjusting your line while drifting and performing micro-adjustments. It also highlights that you can use superstars to drive through other racers and obstacles, or use a ghost to go right through another racer and obtain items. This page is a strategy guide for the Flower Cup Round 2 on Frappe Snowland in Mario Kart 64. It gives tips for improving your time. The target time is 15,037, and the total course length is 734 meters. The page highlights 5 continuous mini-turbos at the start of the course. It also points out an area with snowmen obstacles, recommending to drive straight through the left side. Additionally, there is a shortcut, which requires a mushroom item. Finally, it describes a corner where the end of the course can't be seen, giving a tip that the safest route is to go wide to the right. The next page offers a strategy guide for Flower Cup Round 3, set on Choco Mountain in Mario Kart 64. The goal is to beat the target time of 14,747. The course, totaling 687 meters, features a tricky layout with bumpy terrain. Tips include performing a series of mini-turbo drifts at the very beginning of the race, drifting through long corners while avoiding falling rocks, and hitting the 3 consecutive jumps at the end of the course head-on. It notes that it is best to use a mushroom here. It also discusses the uphill curve after the tunnel, advising an early drift followed by a mini-turbo boost, and warns about the rockslide hazards along the track. This page features a strategy guide for Mario Kart 64, focusing on the Flower Cup Round 4, which takes place on Mario Circuit. The objective is to beat the target time of 12,270 on the 567-meter course. The guide details 3 key shortcut strategies. The first involves drifting at the second corner into the grassy area. The second shortcut is taking the inside of the hairpin turn near the giant mushroom and using a mini-turbo to accelerate through it. The third tip is to cut through the off-road section after a short straight, using a mushroom to dart through the dirt section, and utilizing mini-turbo boosts for acceleration after returning to the track. The page also discusses general racing tips for time attack and versus modes, suggesting the use of superstar or mushroom power-ups to gain an advantage. This page is a strategy guide for the Star Cup in Mario Kart 64, specifically Round 1, which takes place at Wario Stadium. The goal is to achieve a target time of 35,742. The course length is 1,591 meters. The guide features a map of the track. It suggests using a straight line for the shaped section, by quickly switching left and right, and using mini-turbos around the corners. It also emphasizes the importance of the approach angle for the left-hand corners before the washboard section, advising against being too focused on mini-turbos, as it can lead to hitting the walls. Players should maintain a straight line, and avoid erratic steering on the washboard sections, to prevent veering off course or losing speed. The guide also details how to clear the hairpin turn with a 3-stage drift, starting from the outside, and drifting aggressively into the inside. R-jumping is recommended to avoid hitting the outer wall. The page also advises players to use items strategically to knock rivals into the pit at the bottom of the course. The next page continues the strategy guide, now focusing on the Star Cup Round 2 in Mario Kart 64, which takes place on Sherbet Land. The target time is 14,951. And the course length is 756 meters. The page includes a full course map with various points marked. The guide advises players to stick to the basic outside to inside line, especially on the sharp curves. Drifting towards the ice crack is suggested for an optimal line. It also suggests using R-jumping to clear gaps. The guide also suggests maintaining a drift to navigate the cave section. The page instructs players to aim for an inner, outer, inner path when passing the 4 pillars inside the cave. For the series of left and right corners, the page encourages the use of drift to maneuver. It advises using mini-turbos on the final corner, and to pay close attention to the penguins in the final corner to decide which line to take. The guide states that spinning out near the water's edge is dangerous, and using items strategically is advised, particularly in the cave section. It also mentions that the track is icy, making for a slippery ride. The page advises against reckless driving and recommends using items near the pillars or in the cave. The page notes that the penguins can cause problems. The next page continues the strategy guide, with tips for Peach Circuit in Mario Kart 64's Star Cup Round 3. The target time is 2:34.78, and the course length is 1,025 meters. The page includes a full course map. The first tip emphasizes using the outside Cordo inside racing line, particularly in corners 1 and 2. The guide suggests starting a drift before corner 2. For the third corner, it suggests absorbing the impact upon landing after the jump by sticking to the right side of the course and using the R trigger. The guide points out a shortcut where using a mushroom can be effective. Finally, it mentions the final corner is banked, and comments on the item boxes are floating, and that they can be combined with fake item boxes in the air. This page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now focusing on Koopa Castle, the 4th round in the Star Cup, with a target time of 20,176 on the 777-meter course. The page features a full map of Koopa Castle, highlighting key sections. It gives tips for navigating the course, with a focus on various obstacles and turns. The first tip is that lines will vary based on laps. The second emphasizes maintaining an outside line, and the third focuses on an inside line for certain segments, especially when dodging the thwomps that populate the course. Finally, the guide suggests aiming for the inside when approaching the extremely tight corners on the track. The next page is a strategy guide for the Special Cup in Mario Kart 64, specifically Round 1. Donkey Jungle Park. The target time for the 893-meter course is 21,165. It features a full map of the course and provides tips for optimizing your run. The first tip focuses on the initial jump. Aim for the palm tree on the left side of the course, jumping slightly to the left. The guide warns that jumping at too sharp of an angle can result in landing short and being unable to reach the opposite side. The second tip advises drifting through the sequence of 6 corners from the jump to the suspension bridge as you go. By initiating the drift early, you can maintain mini-turbos throughout this entire section. The third tip highlights a shortcut that can be taken after the suspension bridge by using a mushroom item. Using the mushroom speed boost, You can cut through the small cliff. The guide notes that item boxes containing mushrooms are placed strategically on the cliff in GP and versus modes, allowing you to drift onto the cliff. A point of emphasis for GP and versus modes. The guide recommends placing item-based traps on the suspension bridge to maximize their effectiveness. Opponents are more likely to fall victim here. If using items defensively, use items that affect your player. The guide suggests placing banana sets to get the jump on opponents. The next page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now focusing on the Special Cup Round 2, Yoshi Valley. The target time for this 772-meter course is 20,037. The page provides a full course map and several tips. Drifting shortcut. Immediately after the start, there's a shortcut through the grass that can be accessed by using a mushroom to boost. Dangerous shortest route. The guide acknowledges that the shortest route is laden with obstacles. It involves navigating a maze-like section where the Ojama characters, likely Shy Guys or similar hazards, move predictably, requiring precise timing to avoid them. Avoiding giant eggs. The course features giant Yoshi eggs that rotate and can flatten your kart. You need to time your movements to dodge them. Course overview. The path is divided into 3 sections, and there are several obstacle characters along the way. The guide emphasizes the challenge of the shortest route due to the roaming obstacles, and suggests exploiting the course's many cliffs to knock opponents off. The next page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now focusing on the Special Cup Round 3, Eudoro Lake. The target time for this 747-meter course is 15,591. The page provides a full course map and several tips. 1. Considering the first 2 corners as one. Treat the 2 consecutive right-hand curves as a single corner and clear them with 1 drift. 2. Clearing slopes with drifting. Drift into the left-hand corner after the short straight to cut from the outside to the inside without losing speed. 3. Quick left-right drifting. Quickly switch from left to right drifts on the winding sections to shorten your time. 4. Drift immediately after landing. The course has consecutive left-hand corners after a jump. 5. Straight with drift jump. You can go straight by jumping with a drift before the slit. The page advises to be mindful of the banana item to avoid it. It also shows a ghost house on the track with a swarm of bats, kumori, that impede your progress if you collide with them. This page continues the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, now focusing on the Special Cup Round 4, Rainbow Road. The target time for this 2,000-meter course is 41,209. The page provides a full course map and several tips. 1. Shortcut immediately after the start. After the start, when the course becomes visible, drift jump to the left. 2. Use mushrooms to prevent speed loss on slopes. Use mushrooms to prevent slowing down when ascending steep slopes. The page advises to drift at every corner to get the most mini-turbos. Also beware of the chain chomps, which move in groups of 3 in the opposite direction of the course. They travel at approximately 20 kilometers per hour. A wide-angle camera is recommended to have a better field of view. This page details battle mode strategy for Mario Kart 64. It emphasizes understanding the rules of battle mode, where the goal is to deplete opponents' balloons by inflicting damage. Each kart starts with 3 balloons, and losing all balloons results in elimination. The page covers offensive and defensive tactics, stressing the importance of timing attacks and evasions, and using items effectively. It describes the revenge mechanic, where eliminated players become bomb minicars, able to attack others. Also highlighted are the different battle stages and the layout of the maps and their elevation differences, and to use the information on the screen to the player's advantage. The next page is a strategy guide for Mario Kart 64 Battle Mode. It emphasizes observing opponents' screens to discern their positions, items, and strategies. Effective items in battle mode include fake item boxes, which can trap opponents, and superstars, which draw enemies in. It is important to use the radar, which indicates character positions and identifies them by balloon color, such as Mariard, Luigi Green, Peach Pink, Toad Blue, Yoshi Light Blue, Donkey Kong Brown, Wario Yellow, and Bowser Purple. The page also details the advantages of different character weights in battle. Heavier characters will cause lighter racers to spin out. Finally, it shows a map of a battle course, highlighting the locations of item boxes. This page is a strategy guide for the battle mode courses in Mario Kart 64. focusing on 4 specific arenas. The guide highlights the importance of map awareness and observing opponents' positions. The first course is Big Donut, which features a circular layout with a central hole and 4 pillars. Players must be cautious not to fall into the center. The second course, Block Fort, consists of 4 fortresses connected by bridges, with 3 levels to navigate. The guide advises using the radar to determine the level of opponents, as height differences aren't directly visible. It also recommends using the 4 pillars in the Big Donut course strategically for defense or to ambush opponents. It highlights the importance of using items like fake item boxes effectively, and suggests using the map to learn their locations. Finally, the guide suggests ambushing players at the connecting points between levels to catch them off guard. The next page features a strategy guide for 2 additional battle mode courses in Mario Kart 64, Skyscraper and Double Deck. Skyscraper is set atop a tall skyscraper and features a small, octagonal arena with 5 holes, making it easy to fall off. The guide warns of the constant danger of falling and recommends caution due to the lack of fences. It is suggested that Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser may have a distinct advantage near the holes because of their weight. Double Deck is a multi-level arena with 4 interconnected floors accessible via ramps. The item boxes are marked on the course map. It notes the yellow boxes are on the 3rd and 4th floors, and the other marks are on the 1st and 2nd floors. The guide shows diagrams of how the levels are connected. It advises using green shells effectively by bouncing them off walls, and recommends awareness of the radar to keep track of opponents, showing the difficulty of knowing what floor they are on. It also suggests that if you are on the 4th floor, you can jump to floors 3 and 2 through the middle hole. The overall strategy highlighted is to try and make opponents fall off of the map to their doom. This page features a contest for Mario Kart 64 players to submit their best lap times. Famimaga 64 is soliciting speedruns from players across the country. Players can submit a VHS tape of their best lap time, along with their personal information and a list of the games they won as a prize. The contest focuses on a 4-round point system, and the first round is set on the Luigi Raceway track. The magazine's editorial department has set a target time of 14,527 to beat. The grand prize for the overall winner is the Sony Glastron headset. Prizes are also available for runners-up, including a digital camera and a Game Boy Pocket. Also, the top 3 players in each round can win the game of their choice. A model is shown wearing the Sony Glastron VR headset and a screenshot from the game showing Mario driving around a track. There is a point-scoring table for the results. The next page features an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto about Mario Kart 64. Conducted at Nintendo Space World 96, Miyamoto discusses the development process and his own skills at the game, claiming he's okay at it. He talks about the decision to exclude Rumble Pack support, citing timing issues and a desire to avoid splitting the player base. He also touches on character selection, revealing that the character Kamek was originally included, but replaced due to being too bland. Miyamoto recommends using Kinopio, Toad, for gameplay. He expresses excitement for future Nintendo 64 titles, promising a strong lineup in the coming years. A small side article mentions the game Jungle Emperor, and that the characters will be in polygon form on the Nintendo 64. Another smaller article shows a Mario Kart-themed cake. This page is an advertisement for Blastozer on the Nintendo 64, with the tagline, "Stop the runaway nuclear-equipped trailer." The game involves preventing a trailer carrying a nuclear weapon from detonating by securing a safe path for it. Players must clear obstacles using special vehicles and robots, even if it means destroying buildings. The page highlights the game's use of the Rumble Pack to enhance the action, with Mario demonstrating the accessory. A screenshot shows a nuclear explosion if the trailer crashes, with the text, "The End." There is a small screenshot showing a robot and another one of a plane destroying targets, along with some gameplay tips. This page showcases Blastozer on the Nintendo 64. Highlighting its gameplay elements. The page explains that players must strategically use 8 types of special vehicles and robots to navigate and destroy terrain, ensuring a safe path for a runaway trailer. Players can switch between the vehicles and robots during gameplay. There are 5 types of special vehicles featured. The Ramdozers, which removes obstacles, the Backlash that destroys barriers, the Barista, which fires missiles, the Skyfall for its maneuverability, and the Sideswipe, a trailer-type vehicle. 3 types of robots are available: the Cyclone Suit, the Thunder Fist, and the J-Bomb. each with unique abilities like aerial attacks and special moves. The reviewer also talks about the level design, where you might need to destroy the terrain, buildings, and high-rise towers. The next page is an advertisement for King of Pro Baseball on the Nintendo 64. The page highlights player data for the Central League teams and their players. The game is set to be released on February 20th and will cost 9,980 yen. The page showcases the importance of player development and condition in the game, where it is critical to use practice mode to develop players, and ensure to check and choose the best players based on their condition. Some modes of training are batting, pitching, and defensive training. The game also features 3 D-stick controls and lock-on for batting. The page has some screenshots from the game and explains how to play. This page is dedicated to player data in King of Pro Baseball on the N64. It explains how to interpret the various stats shown in the game, such as batting average, home runs, fielding ability, and physical stats. The size of the batting cursor, controlled by the player, is another key stat that's affected by player condition, practice, and the random chance that is in the game. The page details how to improve player stats through practice, and how certain traits, like being clutch under pressure, can affect a player's performance. It also touches on the pitching data, including how to improve the changeup ball type. Finally, the page details how to change the fielding and batting order in the team edit screen. This page features player data for the Yomiuri Giants baseball team, with a focus on select players. It highlights the team's strong pitching lineup and mentions key players like Masashi Saito, Galvez, and Makihara. A pickup section emphasizes Matsui, praising his stats and power-hitting ability. Another section focuses on pitcher Mario, highlighting his fastball and forkball, and suggesting he's best used as a relief pitcher. The page includes a table with player stats like batting average, home runs, fielding, and pitching data, and another table that focuses on pitchers' data and what pitches they can perform. The next page shows player data for the Chunichi Dragons baseball team. It praises their powerful batting lineup, calling it a Terror Dragon offensive line. Key players are highlighted, including Seishu Yamasaki, noted for his home run hitting, and pitcher Imonaka, recognized for his pitching ability. The page includes a table with player stats, listing batting averages, home runs, fielding, and pitching data. The right of the table showcases the positions each player is most likely to play. There is also a table that focuses on pitchers' data and what pitches they can perform. The next page focuses on the Hiroshima Toyo Kart baseball team, highlighting their stability and strong batting average. It features key players like outfielder Koto Etu, known for his power hitting, and veteran pitcher Ono. The page includes tables with player stats, covering batting averages, home runs, fielding, and pitching data, along with the defensive positions each player primarily covers. There is also a table focusing on pitchers' data and the types of pitches they throw. This page highlights the Yakult Swallows baseball team, and how they are covering their weaknesses with foreign players. The page focuses on key players like Hensley Mullins and Jack Howell, referred to as O'Malley in the Japanese text. Mullins is praised for his power hitting, but noted to be weak with runners in scoring position, while O'Malley supports the team and is strong in clutch situations. The page features player stats, including batting averages, home runs, fielding percentages, and pitching data. The defensive positions are listed for each player. The pitching data table shows the different types of pitches each pitcher throws, such as straight balls, sliders, curves, and more. This page focuses on the Yokohama Bay Stars baseball team. It discusses how the team needs to improve their offense and relies on foreign players like Braggs and Rose for home runs. It highlights key players like pitcher Takashi Saito and closer Kazuhiro Sasaki. There's a table of player data, including batting stats, defensive positions, and pitching information, listing the types of pitches each pitcher throws. The notable pitchers listed are Takashi Saito, Morita, Nomura, Miura, Sekiguchi, Ariomoto, Tanabe, Ito, Shimada, Denny, Yoan, Nishi, Igarashi, and Sasaki. The next page shifts focus to the Hanshin Tigers baseball team, emphasizing the need for hitters with power. It calls out players like Hiroki Uemoto, Takashi Toritani, and the veteran Masayuki Kakefu. The page presents player statistics including batting average, home runs, runs batted in, and defensive abilities. The stats table includes player names such as Wada, Kuji, Craig, Madeus, Hiyama, Shinjo, Sekikawa, Yamada, Ishimine, Hiratsuka, Hoshino, Ayukawa, Takaba, Nagashima, Hirao, Makoto, Kido, Kitagawa, and Yabu. Pitching data is also provided, listing pitch types for pitchers like Yabu, Kawajiri, Funaki, Wayufune, Takeuchi, Yamazaki, Furumizo, Nakagomi, Shimada, and Hayashi. This page offers a look at the Nintendo 64 title Super Robot Spirits, a 3D polygon-based fighting game. It showcases 6 of the super robots featured in the game. It highlights R1 from New Super Robot Wars for PlayStation, a standard all-around unit, and Dunbine, a small and fast aura battler specializing in aerial combat with its aura sword. The page also gives a glimpse into the game's visuals, showing both wireframe models and textured versions of the robots. The page mentions that the visuals are still under development and expected to become more realistic. Release date and price are yet to be decided. The next page covers the Nintendo 64 3D fighting action game Super Robot Spirits and features 6 iconic robots. It begins with the story, in which the Arrogators threaten Earth, leading to robot battles, including Earth's representative against the robot Judecca. The robots highlighted are Original Robot R, one from New Super Robot Wars for PlayStation, and Dunbine, known for its speed and aerial combat. Dankuga, known for its special move I'll Do It. Voltes V, who uses his weapon, the Tenkuken. Walker Gallia, who can knock enemies out of the sky. And finally, Shining Gundam, known for his skill and special moves like the Shining Finger. The page describes the robot's abilities and special moves in the game, and how faithful the animation is to the original series, with the original voice actors. This page features the Nintendo 64 game Turok: Dinosaur Hunter, with the title Maker Darren Reveals a New World. The page describes how the main character, Turok, fights enemies using various weapons to save a world existing between time and space. There are several level types, such as jungles and underground bases. The levels contain warp holes to alternate dimensions with traps and enemies, and items to assist the player. The goal is to collect keys, scattered throughout the stages, and insert them into pedestals to open warp gates to new areas, and ultimately defeat the evil campaigner. The page also highlights areas described as dangerous zones and high difficulty areas with traps. The next page features an interview with Darren, a member of the Turok team, who came from America to discuss the game Turok: Dinosaur Hunter. Darren highlights the game's graphics and detailed animations, such as water droplets and ripples. He mentions the variety of enemy behaviors, and the unique AI that governs them, where enemies react to visual and auditory cues. Darren explains that the enemies are not mindless, but behave differently in combat depending on the situation. The game allows for strategic combat, as players can exploit enemy weaknesses and manipulate encounters. When discussing the challenges of developing the game, Darren mentions the newness of the N64 platform, and the need to create tools and research alongside the game's development. He also expresses interest in the Nintendo 64 Rumble Pack. This page announces a competition for minigame ideas for the N64 sumo wrestling game, tentatively titled 64 Grand Sumo. Readers are invited to submit their minigame ideas, with the opportunity to have their concepts implemented in the game. If selected, the contributors will be credited in the game's staff role, making them part of the development team. The page mentions that the minigames will be included in the Grand Sumo mode of the game, and the core stats of the sumo wrestlers can be enhanced by playing minigames. There will be events happening every other month in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and Fukuoka. There are basic parameters that can be developed through the minigames: spirit, skill, and body. Players can focus on enhancing specific parameters to their preference. The page includes a prize list for the competition winners, such as getting the product and staff role, a special prize, a Famimaga 64 award, and goods from the additional team. The next page is regarding minigame ideas for a sumo wrestling game. This page builds upon the previous page and discusses the minigame competition in more detail, encouraging readers to submit creative minigame concepts that incorporate elements of the game's setting and theme. The page offers an example minigame idea, Chanko Degatsuan, where players compete to eat as much chanko stew as possible within a time limit, but players need to find certain ingredients. The more ingredients the player has, the higher the body parameter rises. The page also provides instructions on how to submit minigame ideas. Submissions should include the title, description, and an illustration of the minigame, as well as information on how it relates to the game's parameters. The deadline for submissions is January 24, 1997. The page continues to give details on the Power League 4 tournament results, highlighting the top players and their batting averages, as well as their prizes. The next page is a full-page advertisement featuring 3 games. First is Chalvo 55 for the Game Boy, a puzzle action game slated for a February 1997 release, with a manufacturer's suggested retail price of 3,800 yen. 2 Nintendo 64 titles are also advertised, Chameleon Twist and Cavalry Battle 3000, both planned for release in 1997. The bottom section provides contact information for Japan's System Supply, including their address, phone number, and website URL. The next page is a full-page ad for Super Black Bass Pocket on the Game Boy. This fishing game boasts a top-down view and promises realistic fishing excitement on the go. Launching on December 27th, it is priced at 4,980 yen and features 8 MB of memory with battery backup. The advert is by Starfish Inc. This page is an advertisement for 2 Super Famicom games by Banpresto and Elf. The first is Dragon Knight 4, a fantasy simulation game with character designs by Masaki Takai. It's scheduled for release on December 27, 1996, priced at 7,980 yen, and requires 24 meters plus 64 K.BB memory. The second game is Dukyusei 2, meaning Classmates 2, an adventure game based on a PC hit, featuring an original scenario and new characters by Masaki Takai. It's slated for release in March 1997 with a price of 7,980 yen and needs 32 meters plus 16 K.BB memory. The page also includes screenshots from both games. The next page is a full-page advertisement for the Super Famicom puzzle game Quanpa SFC by T&E Soft. The advertisement highlights the game's new gameplay, describing it as an evolution from falling block puzzles. It emphasizes that this innovative puzzle experience is sure to be addictive. The ad also features screenshots and cute block character designs and prominently announces the release date as December 20th and the price as 6,800 yen. This page presents a feature on New Year's postage stamps that incorporate designs based on regional folk toys and zodiac animals. It showcases a timeline of commemorative stamps issued over the years, from 1953 to 1996, each depicting a different local craft or toy associated with the Chinese zodiac. Examples include the dog Hariko from Tokyo, 1957, Miharu Koma, horse, from Fukushima, 1957, a rat riding a mallet from Shiga Prefecture, 1983, a boar from Niigata, 1970, a tiger from Osaka, 1985, and a sheep bell from Saga, 1996. The page also provides practical information about purchasing stamps, encouraging readers to prepare their New Year's cards early, as special New Year's stamps are released on November 15th. It suggests various methods for acquiring stamps, such as buying them at the post office, collecting used stamps, trading with friends, and visiting stamp shops. The next page features a popularity ranking for Nintendo 64 and Super Famicom games. Mario Kart 64 takes the top spot, followed by Dragon Quest II for Super Famicom. The Legend of Zelda 64, working title, comes in at number 3. The reviewer wonders if The Legend of Zelda 64 will have an impact on the top spots. The page highlights that the release date and price for The Legend of Zelda 64 are still undecided. Other games in the top 20 include Mother 3 working title, Momotaro Dentetsu Happy, GQ Powerful Pro Yaku 4, Ganbare Goemon 5, Street Fighter 02, Pocket Monsters 2 Gold and Silver, Kindaichi Shonen no Jikenbo working title, Mini 4 WD Shining Scorpion Let's Go, Super Mario RPG 2 working title, Yoshi's Island 64 working title, and Star Fox 64. This page presents Famimaga readers' rankings of new games. The magazine's readers have ranked 5 games in particular. Wonder Project J2 for the N64 comes in at number 2. They feel the graphics are different from other 64 games. They wonder if the game's unique qualities will be reflected in the ratings. Super Donkey Kong 3 for the SFC comes in at number 23. But the readers feel the graphics are beautiful. The GB version of Shiren GB, Moonlit Village Monster, takes the top spot on the Game Boy. The reader feels the story is good. Also featured are the GB versions of Donkey Kong Land and Genjin Collection. This page is from Famimaga 64 magazine. and features a reader's review of the Nintendo 64 game Wonder Project J2. Readers praise the game's characters, particularly Josette, for being engaging and interactive. They find the communication and storytelling to be well executed, with the animation and graphics being impressive. Some note that the game evokes a sense of nostalgia and stands out in the S64 library. However, some readers feel that the underwater exploration sequences are difficult due to navigational issues. Others mention that the game's story progression could be improved and express a desire for more interaction with Josette. The game is also praised for its unique features, such as the ability to influence Josette's actions and emotions. The page encourages readers to send in their opinions on the new Super Donkey Kong 3 game. This page from Famimaga 64 magazine presents the weekly top-selling games chart, with Super Donkey Kong 3 leading the pack. The top 20 games are listed with their respective platforms, SFC, GB, N64, manufacturers, and point scores. Super Donkey Kong 3 is praised for its upgraded graphics compared to its predecessor. Other notable titles include the Mystery Dungeon, Shiren the Wanderer, GB Moon Shadow Village Monster, Pocket Monsters, Wonder Project J2, and Donkey Kong Land. The ranking also shows Parlor Mini 4, Super Donkey Kong 2, JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 96, and Story of Seasons. The magazine notes that Wonder Project J2 debuted at number 4, and that Donkey Kong Land and Horizon Collection are also new entries in the top 10. The second chart lists the top-selling games for the week of November 25th to December 1st, with Parlor/Mini 4 at number 1, followed by Super Donkey Kong 3 and Pocket Monsters. This page from Famimaga 64 magazine is advertising a Mario Kart 64 time trial campaign. This event is to commemorate the release of Mario Kart 64 on December 14th. Participants can get a time trial participation card at participating stores when purchasing the game. The page details how to participate in the campaign, including playing Mario Kart 64, recording your best time on the Flower Cups Mario circuit, and registering the time at the store. There's a chance to win special prizes, including a special license card for those who achieve a Nintendo-approved time within 1 minute and 30 seconds, and a lottery for 10,000 gold controllers. The top 10 players will have their names published in game magazines and at participating stores, and they will be invited to a Grand Champion tournament aired on TV. The page includes a map of the Mario circuit course, and an image of a gold 64 controller. This page is a reader's gift section from various companies. In celebration of the successful Space World event, Nintendo is offering a preview video of upcoming Nintendo 64 software, available to 50 winners. There's also a competition to win a Midori no Makibao Omen mask provided by Tomy, featuring the character from the anime. There are 20 of these to win. Sega is offering a St. Andrews calendar and telecard to 5 winners, showing beautiful golf course photographs. There is also a Snoopy First Aaron poster from Kemco, available to 10 winners, and a Cavalry Battle 3000 calendar from Japan System Supply, to 10 winners. Lastly, Imagineer is giving away Super Space Knight Pro Baseball King notebook to 15 winners. The page also advertises an event at Sanrio Puroland, Tokyo, called Mini 4WD Ultra Circuit, where players can race their Mini 4WD cars on special tracks. The event runs from December 24th to January 6th, and then again from January 7th to February 11th, on weekends and holidays. There's also a chance to win Sanrio Puroland tickets, with 5 sets of 10 tickets available. The next page is an advertisement for Nintendo 64 storage solutions from Moragang, helping players organize their games and accessories. They are selling a 64 System Rack DX and a 64 cassette case designed to neatly store N64 games. The page also advertises CD, video, and book releases. A CD of Tokimeki Memorial Vocal Best Collection 3 and the Twin Bee Paradise 3, Volume 7 stereo drama are announced. Also featured are the Real Situation Chatting Parodius Forever With Me soundtrack, and the Key the Metal Idol radio program number 1. There's a Violinist of Hameln drama CD and Oriental Magnetic Yellow OMY CD. The Ninku Ninku 12 video is being released, and the Tokimeki Memorial Super Collection Special Limited Edition book. The band Buff the Band of Fighters debuts on December 20th, which consists of SNK fighting game characters. The members are Kyoku Sanagi, Yori Yagami, Athena Asamiya, Terry Bogard, and Nakoru. This page is titled, Let's Hear Your Opinions, and solicits reader feedback. Readers can win one of 3 Nintendo 64 games: Mario Kart 64, Hyperspace Knight or Pro Baseball King, and J-League Perfect Striker 2. Readers must fill out a questionnaire, including their school/occupation, year in school, if applicable, age, and gender. They also need to indicate how many game software titles they own, what magazines they read, and what kinds of articles they would like to see more of. Article choices include Super Famicom, Famicom, Game Boy, Virtual Boy, Nintendo 64, and general Game Center information. There are instructions on how to fill out the entry card, including examples of how to properly write numbers. A list of readers who will receive the prizes is also included. This page is a reader prize giveaway from Famimaga 64 magazine. It lists the games available as prizes for readers who participate in a questionnaire and submit their opinions. The first section lists Nintendo 64 games, including titles such as Ultra Donkey Kong and J-League Dynamite Soccer 64. The second section features Super Famicom games such as Super Mario RPG 2 and Street Fighter 02. The third section offers Game Boy titles, including Kirby's Star Stacker and Pocket Monster 2. The final section lists Virtual Boy games, such as Out of the Death Mount and Virtual Block. Also mentioned is a list of topics covered in the magazine, including Mario Kart 64, Blast Dozer, and Super Robot Spirits. Finally, there is a list of gaming magazines and console platforms available in the market. The next page is a promotional page for Dragon Quest II Eyes, specifically focusing on the area around Romaria and Ashalam. It showcases the journey from Romaria to Ashalam, highlighting key locations and features. The page features a map of the area, pointing out places like Noanio Village, the Tower of Champoni, Kazave Village, and the town of Ashalam. The text describes how the adventure begins in Romaria and details the journey through the continent of Aliahan, including visiting towns and dungeons before finally reaching Ashalam. The price for the game is listed as 8,700 yen. This page delves into the town of Romaria from Dragon Quest II-1, the first town on the new continent. The main objectives are to meet the king and set your next goals. People in Romaria are eagerly awaiting heroes from Aliahan. If you visit the king, he will record your adventure log, and you can recover from battle damage and gather information. The page also shows information on an equipment shop, with weapons like the Holy Knife, Chain Sickle, Iron Spear, Leather Armor, Scale Armor, Chainmail, and Iron Shield. There's also a tools shop, offering items like Iron Mask, Leather Hat, Herb, Antidote Herb, Holy Water, Wing of the Wyvern, and Full Moon Herb. The page recommends buying Full Moon Herbs in bulk. It also features conversations with townspeople, including one mentioning that a character's son is too fond of the king. Another highlights a rumor of Ortega's arrival. The page concludes with a tip about monsters near Romaria, inflicting paralysis, and recommends purchasing full moon herbs to counter this status ailment. It also emphasizes the need to be well prepared for any battle. This page explores the town of Kazave, located to the west of Romaria, surrounded by mountains, and also delves into the mysterious Champani Tower nearby. Kazave serves as a key stopover point in the adventure, offering a church and various shops for adventurers. The page recommends equipping the fighter class character with iron claws and clothing. Rabbit tails boost luck by 8, and also changes the personality. The equipment available in Kazave includes Iron Lance, Iron Claw, Chainmail, Iron Armor, Budo Clothes, Bronze Shield and Scale Shield. Tool shop items include Wood Hat, Herb, Antidote Herb, Holy Water, Wing of Wyvern, Full Moon Herb, and Rabbit Tail. The page highlights the Champani Tower, a 5-story structure, advising players to be prepared for strong poison and paralysis attacks within, recommending stocking up on Antidote Herbs and Full Moon Herbs. The first floor is the largest. The rumor is that Champani Tower is full of devil worshippers. The next page provides a monster guide for the Champani Tower and the surrounding area near Romaria and Kazave from Dragon Quest II I. It features images and descriptions of enemies like Armored Knight, Healer Slime, Caterpillar, Human-Faced Moth, Wizard, and Almirage. It offers advice on dealing with their attacks, such as stocking up on antidotes and full moon herbs to counter poison and paralysis. Also described are monsters such as Killer Bee, Gizmo, Poison Worm, Obeke Kinoko, Guntai Crab, Bat Ogre, Poison Toad, and Animal Zombie, each with tips on how to combat them. The page includes pixelated maps of each floor of the Champani Tower, from 1F to 4F. This page introduces the village of Noaniel, north of Kazave, in Dragon Quest II-1. The village is surrounded by forest and is located on a peninsula, near an entrance to a western cave. The page notes that the cave and the area around Noaniel can be dangerous, with strong enemies that require ample preparation and healing items before exploring. The shops in Noaniel feature rare items, including clothes that protect the body, which have a high defense and can be equipped by any class. There is also a Staff of the Magician, which can be used as an item in battle to cast a fire spell. The shop stocks steel swords and magic staffs. Tips are given to equip the Staff of the Magician, which can be used by all classes as an item. Buying 2 or 3 threads of spider silk is also recommended to slow down enemies. The page also gives a brief walkthrough of the Western Cave, spanning from B1F to B4F. It advises players to proceed carefully, check their level, and be prepared for strong enemies and special attacks. It mentions there are healing points and treasures within the cave. Screenshots show battles with enemies like Elroy, Maggot, and Romeo, and the water flowing in the cave. This page is a guide to the Western Cave near Noaniel in Dragon Quest II-I. It highlights the types of monsters found in the area, such as Hitokui, Matango, Vampire, Varied Dog, and Death Flatter, providing brief descriptions of their attacks and abilities. The page includes a detailed map of the cave, spanning from B1F to B3F. The guide warns that the monsters in this area are powerful and use strong special attacks. It advises players to defeat poisonous enemies like Poison Imomushi and vampires early, and mentions enemies such as Elroy, Maggot, and Romeo. This page focuses on the town of Asaram, in a Dragon Quest game, accessible by crossing the eastern bridge from Romaria. The town is depicted as a bustling location, especially at night, with unique features like a theater and stores that operate only during the night. The guide emphasizes caution when shopping, warning that some merchants might try to overcharge players, particularly if they appear eager to buy. The page recommends purchasing armor and helmets, and specifically suggests the fur hood for female characters. The guide also includes information on item and weapon shops in Asaram, but it does not provide specific prices for every item. It highlights the different classes that can equip certain weapons and armor. It also describes enemies like Catfly and Abarazaru. The guide advises players to be cautious of Abarazaru, who have high attack power, and recommends using sleep spells or the spell Menusa to deal with them. This page is a guide to enhancing your adventure in Dragon Quest II-I through minigame locations and personality-altering items. The guide starts with the Monster Battle Arena and the Shuguroku Field, and shows how to use them effectively. In the Battle Arena, you can bet on monster fights and earn money, while the Shuguroku Field offers valuable rewards for reaching the goal. The game also describes how to change your character's personalities using special items, mainly accessories and books. Accessories will change a character's personality while equipped, and books will change them permanently. It goes on to explain different personality-altering items, starting with accessories, and gives example items such as the Tattoo of Rage, which increases strength, the Glasses of Intelligence, which increases wisdom, the Heavy Metal Ring, and Mohawk Wig. The page also goes on to list personality-altering books, and includes books like The Secret of Strength, giving the character more strength, the 100 Courage book, the Don't Lose book, and the Nice Person book. The page also mentions the Sweet Boy's Guide and the Sad Story, providing a description of how they each affect the character's personality. The game explains you can find treasures in bookshelves, and also shows a screenshot of the team and a picture of the item on the floor. The last picture shows the team standing in a room with barrels that might have treasure. The next page is a strategy guide for Wonder Project J2, Koruro no Mori no Josette, a Nintendo 64 adventure game. This guide focuses on dungeon strategies, specifically for Wonder Project J2, and provides maps and tips for navigating the dungeons. It highlights key points in dungeons appearing in the first part of the game, accompanied by maps. Events from the first part of the game up to the last area, and selected scenes from the second part, are also included. The guide covers 2 dungeons, Proton Excavation Site, and Goddess Sedona Blue Interior. It details the conditions required to enter each dungeon, and the 4 abilities players need to acquire. Wielding the Tsuruhashi pickaxe, jumping, crossing a log, and opening treasure chests. The guide also details the importance of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving within the dungeons. It explains how the pickaxe is used, how to jump over chasms, balance on logs, and open treasure chests. The next page delves into dungeon exploration strategies for Wonder Project J2, focusing on maximizing income at the Proton Excavation Site. It offers 4 key points: diligently using the pickaxe for mining, utilizing the 2 elevators efficiently, managing health recovery, and defeating monsters. The Proton Excavation Site map is shown covering floors B1F to B5F, with icons indicating elevators, EV, mining locations, proton ore deposits, giant monsters, jump points, and single-log bridges. The guide explains that the game uses a 3D view, but the map is shown from an overhead perspective. The guide provides tips such as striking the ground repeatedly with the pickaxe to obtain ore, strategically using the 2 elevators available in the dungeon, managing stamina by using proton ore to recover, and defeating monsters effectively using your pickaxe. This page provides dungeon exploration strategies for the Goddess Sedona Blue area in Wonder Project J2. The objective is to reach the door that never opens on the top floor as quickly as possible. It emphasizes avoiding unnecessary actions and utilizing the shortest routes, as there are no health recovery items. The guide also notes that upon reaching the door that never opens, an event will trigger, with the leader of the revolutionaries, Galon, making his first appearance. If you try to team up with Galon, he won't accept. The page shows a map of the area, highlighting key locations such as monster encounters, jump points, a single log bridge, staircases, and the exit. There are also tips for navigating specific sections, such as avoiding unnecessary battles in certain rooms, and choosing the right path to conserve resources. Screenshots show various monster encounters with a girl in a white dress, and the dialogue of the members of the revolutionaries. This page is an extra file from Famimaga 64 magazine, focusing on Wonder Project J2, subtitled Koruro no Mori no Josette, Josette of the Koruro Forest. It features a digest version of the story up to the end of the first part, highlighting key events and plot points of the game. The story follows Josette after she is cast out by Sedona Blue and exposed as a djinn to the island. Josette is hunted by the Empire, leading to a difficult life. The amount of information in the last events is high. It teases events such as the mining site incident, the conflict between workers and soldiers, worker rebellions. It mentions the new weapons and Gijin soldiers, and their development by Dr. Flauken. The page details Josette's journey, teaming up with characters like Poco, and teases the events of the second part of the game, where the tone shifts to a more serious and heavy story. Screenshots include scenes of possible naval combat, the Gijin unit laser, and Poco crying on the deck of a ship. The next page dives into Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Alpha 2. It aims to convey effective battle strategies for the game's 9 main characters, focusing on powerful original combos and chains. The page emphasizes mastering the original combo system for effective combos. It explains the advantages of original combos, which allow you to cancel into any special or super move and eliminate the recovery motion. It highlights the importance of strategic placement when initiating original combos to maximize effectiveness and prevent failure, and provides tips on how to maximize damage with original combos by using techniques such as canceling into special moves, taking advantage of invincibility frames, and using the original combo system during an enemy attack. Screenshots showcase Ken and Ryu in action, along with tips on using techniques like throws, utilizing invincibility frames, and setting up combos. This page details strategies for playing as Sodom in Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Alpha 2. Focusing on his unique fighting style, the guide highlights Sodom's lack of reversal moves, encouraging players to constantly attack and pressure opponents using his Jipadet and throws. It recommends closing the distance with Jigoku Scrape and punishing predictable guards with powerful throws like Butsumetsu Buster and Tenchu Satsu. The page also suggests linking normal moves to create combos, primarily starting with standing medium punch. It gives options when blocked and shows examples of combos using crouching light kick, standing medium punch, back turn jump light kick, jump strong punch, and standing medium kick. It also shows how to perform super combos and original combos, like the Daikyo burning. It points out how the attack power of Daikyo burning is high, so it is important to determine it accurately. And it also recommends connecting the original combo using crouching strong kick, provocation, crouching strong punch, and provocation, while suggesting using super combos or zero counters due to the difficulty of performing original combos. The next page shifts the focus to Guy in Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Alpha 2. Acknowledging that while he was considered one of the strongest characters in the previous game, he has become somewhat weaker in this installment. The page focuses on Guy's basic fighting style, emphasizing mid and low attacks to confuse opponents. It suggests using the kubikudaki, which is performed with forward and punch, and the crouching strong kick as key moves. It advises utilizing the range of standing medium kick and the Bushin Izuna Otoshi at mid-range. When the opponent uses a sweep, the player should counter with Bushin Senpu Kyaku. The guide recommends incorporating Hozanto into combos, suggesting that the player should cancel Hozanto with Hayagake to land combos. The page details his zero combos that use a light standing punch, medium standing punch, strong standing punch, and standing strong kick. It shows super combos with level 3 gauge using the Hozanto. It also shows combinations that can be cancelled from a crouching medium kick, such as strong Hozanto, strong Bushin Senpu Kyaku, medium Bushin Senpu Kyaku, and 2 hits of weak Bushin Senpu Kyaku. This page provides a basic strategy guide for Zangief in Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Alpha 2. It highlights his strength as a grappler and emphasizes the importance of getting close to the opponent to utilize his powerful throws, especially the final Atomic Buster Super Combo. The guide acknowledges changes in the Super Famicom version, where Zangief can no longer immediately grab opponents getting up. It recommends using strong moves like the Screw Pile Driver and Vanishing Flat to create openings. Specific techniques are suggested, such as incorporating the Screw Pile Driver and performing Standing Light Kick, followed by an Olicon attack. Move setups are outlined using Standing Light Kick, Standing Medium Kick, Standing Strong Kick, and Standing Strong Punch. The page explains when to utilize Olicon attacks and how to execute the Vanishing Flat. The page also features Zangief's key moves, including the final Atomic Buster, Standing Weak Kick, Body Attack, Double Lariat, Crouching Strong Kick, and the Screw Pile Driver. It gives button combinations for moves like the Double Lariat and notes the importance of canceling during Olicon throws to avoid being blocked. The next page is a basic strategy guide for Rolento in Street Fighter 02. It highlights his tricky fighting style and emphasizes using speed and trickery to confuse opponents. The guide suggests harassing enemies with weapons to deplete their health and dealing significant damage with the Olicon Super Combo when possible. Rolento's key moves are discussed, including the Stinger, Spike Rod, and Mekong Delta Escape. The guide recommends utilizing the Stinger by canceling from crouching medium kick and emphasizes the effectiveness of the knife throw. The Kick Zero counter allows Rolento to move behind the opponent, setting up combos and Olicon attacks. The guide also discusses strategies for the crouching jab, jumping punch, and high jump strong kick. The Olicon is highlighted for its ease of use and damage potential. The next page is a strategy guide for Adon in Street Fighter 02. It highlights his Muay Thai fighting style and emphasizes maintaining a mid-range distance. Abaddon excels against opponents with projectile attacks due to his long reach. Key moves discussed include the Jaguar Kick and Jaguar Crunch, useful for interrupting attacks and creating opportunities. The guide suggests utilizing the Jaguar Variety Assault and various other combos. It also notes that Akondadon's number of combos is limited, but they are powerful. The guide emphasizes the difficulty of mastering the timing for Adon's Jaguar Kick, focusing on the importance of timing and using his Olicon Super Combo effectively. Combos involving medium rising Jaguar are shown along with normal moves. This page is a strategy guide for Dhalsim in Street Fighter 2. It focuses on his ability to fight at long range using his stretchy limbs. The guide emphasizes maintaining distance and using moves like Yoga Fire and Standing Strong Kick to keep opponents at bay. The guide notes that Dhalsim struggles in close combat and should avoid it. It highlights his aerial drill kick and the differences between the weak, medium, and strong versions. It also details the sliding and yoga inferno techniques, including combos and strategic uses. The guide suggests utilizing the yoga fire by inputting it correctly, or else it could be a standing strong kick. Finally, it shows Dhalsim using the yoga blast 5 times and sliding in screenshots from the game. The next page features Gen from Street Fighter 02, showcasing his 2 fighting styles, Su Ryu, Morning Style, and Ki Ryu, Astonishing Style. It explains how to effectively use each style, noting that Sao Ryu excels at combos, while Ki Ryu is better for aggressive tactics and mix-ups. The guide emphasizes the importance of knowing when to switch between the styles, even during guard. For Sao Ryu, the strategy revolves around ground combat and landing standing medium kicks to initiate combos. Ki Ryu is best for approaching with strong jump attacks and utilizing anti-air specials. The page details a basic combo for all characters, starting with a super combo when the opponent is cornered. It also shows other moves and combos, like crouching weak punch X2, jumping strong kick, and the snake bite upper, Jakuha, level 1. There are various screenshots from the game to illustrate these techniques. This page focuses on M. Bison, Vega in Japan, from Street Fighter 02. It starts with basic tactics, emphasizing poking and keeping the opponent contained. M. Bison's key is using standing medium kicks, double knee press, and head press effectively. The guide advises using psycho shots at long range and utilizing anti-air specials and dive kicks. Double knee press and head press are highlighted as effective, with tips on canceling into them from other moves. The strategy includes waiting for the opponent's move and using Psycho Diver for counterattacks. The guide advises to avoid the double knee press when the opponent guards a standing strong kick. There are screenshots demonstrating various moves: standing strong kick, jumping strong kick, knee press nightmare, strong double knee press, crouching strong kick, and a screen edge Oricon combo. The page emphasizes the long reach of crouching strong kick and the combo potential using the double knee press and a psycho shot combo. The next page covers Guki, Akuma, in Street Fighter 02. It describes his fighting style as focused on offense due to his low defense. The guide recommends mastering Guki's Oricon combos, enabled in the SFC version, and emphasizes his speedy and powerful Tenma Gojin Kyaku, Demon Flip Kick. His basic strategy involves quickly mixing in attacks and using jump attacks to go straight on the offensive, and not giving the opponent any chance to retaliate. The page covers several of Guki's moves: a standing heavy punch, a crouching heavy punch, a jump heavy kick, his Misatsu Goshoryu, slaughtering Great Rising Dragon move, Tatsumaki Zankukyaku, Hurricane Kick, and Goshoryuken, Dragon Punch. Some of the more advanced techniques include the Shakunetsu Hadoken, Blazing Fireball, and Gao Shoryuken. Tips are given on how to follow up a jump heavy kick or crouching heavy kick with a hurricane kick. The end also advises that the final move should always be a Gao Shoryuken if the opponent is in the air. The next page is a full-page ad for JQJ League Perfect Striker, a soccer game for the Nintendo 64. The ad highlights the game's realistic commentary, immersive atmosphere, and appealing presentation. It mentions the latest entry in the JQ series, features a large number of realistic and motion-captured players, a must-see for any fan. It emphasizes the game's compatibility with the 3D stick for precise controls, and the ability to play with 96 season data and customize goal celebrations. The release date is slated for December 20th, with a price of 9,800 yen. The next page delves into JQJ League Perfect Striker for the Nintendo 64. It showcases the game's motion-captured movements, focusing on how the game recreates realistic player actions and emphasizes how each player has unique ability values, affecting their performance. The page details the various techniques available, emphasizing the importance of button combinations to execute moves like sliding and feints. It also highlights in-game elements such as player condition, which varies and affects their abilities. The article mentions the game tracks stats such as dash, stamina, jump, keep, and defense. Screenshots demonstrate in-game actions like shooting, dribbling, lifting, sliding, and passing, and the page highlights the game's positional play, including a loop shot and the 1-2 pass. This page highlights JQJ League Perfect Striker for the Nintendo 64, focusing on the game's real-time commentary and dynamic gameplay. It emphasizes how the game simulates various match conditions like weather changes and supporter influence. It showcases realistic player actions, beautiful goals, and tactical elements such as yellow cards and foul decisions. The page also emphasizes features such as the real-time commentary, adapting to the skill level and difficulty. It mentions day and night games, weather conditions affecting player performance, and how the 3D stick can cause players to fall and get injured. The article mentions there are about 600 patterns in the commentary during a game. Quote, "This page delves deeper into GQJ League Perfect Striker on the N64, highlighting strategic elements like setting player positions, formations, and team tactics. The article emphasizes customizing positions and formations for a personalized game experience. It explains how player attributes vary based on their position, influencing performance, and touches on setting up free kicks based on player abilities. The page explores how to adjust formations, assign players, and set strategies to exploit opponent weaknesses. The article suggests scouting the opponent's formation before the match. Players can customize formations, selecting from 16 options, and implement 8 different types of tactics using the Z+C buttons. It mentions the importance of marking key players, especially high-ability defenders, to disrupt the opponent's plays. The next page focuses on the Nintendo 64 game GQJ League Perfect Striker. It showcases several game modes, including League Play, where you can play through a full season using the 96 J-League schedule. The page also features a tournament mode based on the Nabisco Cup, and a training mode for practicing free kicks, penalties, and general skills. Additionally, it introduces a scenario mode, where you relive famous moments from the 96 season, with varying difficulty levels, and the ability to replay key scenes from different angles. The page highlights various teams and players, and includes screenshots of gameplay, menu options, and game interfaces. This page is about GQJ League Perfect Striker. It details the player creation and trading features, allowing you to create original players or trade existing ones to your favorite club. The page shows how to customize a player's name, stats, and appearance. The page also features an interview with director Yasuo Okuda about the game's development. Okuda discusses the challenges of working with the Nintendo 64's hardware and the effort put into creating realistic player movements using motion capture. He highlights the game's focus on accessible controls and smooth gameplay, and explains that they have made the game to give the player the feeling that they can control the character to do what they want. The next page is an advertisement for Mahjong Master on the Nintendo 64. The game boasts 19 opponents to challenge, with the objective to win. It highlights the game's modern features and promises an authentic 4-player Mahjong experience. The page shows in-game screenshots featuring various modes, including rule customization, advice, and even a top-down view of the Mahjong table. Control schemes for the N64 controller are detailed. This release by Konami was slated for release in December 20th and would set players back 9,800 yen. This page dives into the various facets of Mahjong Master for the Nintendo 64. It highlights 4 main modes: Free Battle, Story, Quiz, and Battle Mode. In Free Battle mode, players can freely select opponents and rules. Story mode aims for the highest rank and title domination. Quiz mode is designed to increase your knowledge of Mahjong, offering quizzes on scoring and tile identification. Battle mode involves starting with 10,000 points and trying to defeat opponents. The page also introduces the 19 unique characters you can face in the game, each with different skills and personalities. Some character names include Ozawa Yakumaru, Modagoki, Yoshinaga Midori, Hokaika, Oda Muso, Tokugawa Tenchi, Chino Jusan, Toyotomi Seiichi, Kaninuma Eri, Nagayama Shizuka, Uchida Yuki, Kimurtaku, Ozaki Junichi, Namuro Hatsue, Matsumura Sankuro, Kudo Kuranai, Miyako Huo, Yazaki Toru, and A.D. Papin. The next page showcases Donald Duck, Maui Mallard for the Super Famicom. It humorously highlights how Donald Duck stars as Maui Mallards, diving into tropical adventures and transformations. The game lets you play as either the detective Maui Mallard or the ninja, each with different abilities. The aim is to reclaim a stolen idol, battling enemies and navigating stages designed to fit the unique action styles of each form. The page showcases gameplay screenshots, including swinging, climbing, and spinning attacks. Other collectibles such as ninja coins, zombie powder, and even a magical shrunken head. The text also mentions a December 20th release date, with a price of 7,500 yen. The next page features Donald Duck, Maui Mallard, on the Super Famicom, known internationally as Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow. It showcases Maui's quest to retrieve a stolen idol, highlighting the transformations between Maui Mallard and the ninja persona. The guide provides stage-by-stage tips, starting with navigating the magical mansion, where the player faces enemies and solves puzzles. Stage 2 features ninja training, where players master combat skills. Stage 3 introduces battles with the Mad Duck Doink Brigade. Stage 4 involves surviving a volcanic eruption. Finally, Stage 5 tests courage in a trial ceremony, demanding skilled jumps and hits. A bonus stage is also mentioned, unlocked by collecting treasures within each level, leading to a fireworks show. This page showcases the Super Famicom puzzle game, Quanpa. The goal is to roll a colorful cube to match the colors on the panels below and clear them. The page details gameplay elements, including clearing a set number of life panels within the time limit to advance. It introduces color panels and life panels, noting that the cube can only pass over panels of the same color when clearing them. Furthermore, it mentions nuisance color panels that appear and block progress, and thunder panels that trigger chain reactions when matched. The ad outlines 4 game modes: Easy, Normal, Practice, and Puzzle Mode. Easy mode is for beginners. Normal mode involves clearing the panels in a set amount of time. Practice mode lets players learn the rules. Puzzle mode involves clearing panels within a fixed number of moves. The page teaches basic techniques, like Kunoji drop, and encourages players to carefully consider their moves, aiming to conquer all 100 stages. The next page is an advert for the Super Famicom game The Mask, published by Virgin Interactive Entertainment. It features screenshots of gameplay, showcasing the mask's humorous attacks and transformations. The text emphasizes the action and the goal of saving Tina from Dorian. The mask uses various abilities to fight enemies and navigate the streets of Edge City. It also highlights finding items to escape tough spots and using energy to perform special moves. This page introduces the Super Famicom game Ginga Senki Bottom Up, loosely translated as Galaxy War Chronicle Bottom Up. Scheduled for release on December 19th, it is a Shugoro Q-style board game for up to 5 players. The gameplay revolves around rolling dice, occupying planets, and strategically hiring subordinates to conquer the galaxy. The page details how players recruit subordinates at space stations and occupy planets, emphasizing the importance of resource management and strategic decision-making to win battles, collect taxes, and expand their territories. Different types of planets are shown, each offering unique events and opportunities like tax collection, resource allocation, and random encounters. It also highlights the process of recruiting subordinates with different stats and skills, and the option to pay taxes or engage in combat with opponents. If players choose combat, they can win or lose based on the dice roll, and potentially buy out enemy subordinates at varying costs. Emphasis is placed on the need to carefully consider the risks and rewards of each action. The next page is an advertisement for the Game Boy game Super Black Bass Pocket, scheduled for release on December 27th for 4,980 yen. It highlights the game's features, including the ability to play it anywhere due to the portable nature of the Game Boy, offering a realistic bass fishing experience. The page showcases screenshots of gameplay, including selecting lures, casting, reeling in fish, and participating in tournaments. It emphasizes the variety of fish that can be caught and the importance of mastering fishing techniques. There's also a section on advice from a character named Hoshio, and mentions the tournament, with the goal to be in the top 9 out of 50 participants. This page is an advertisement for Bomberman GB3, set to be released on December 20th for 3,980 yen. It teases a story mode where Bomberman must reclaim stolen capsules and defeat enemies, and features 7 stages, 3 on the surface, 3 underground, and a final devil stage. The page shows off the ability to change tactics with special items, and introduces 4 types of motobombers, each with unique damage resistance and abilities. Items like line bombs, dash, and bomb kick are highlighted alongside the motobomber vehicles. Screenshots showcase gameplay, including navigating icy levels and battling Devil Bomber. It mentions that mastering special items is key to winning, and defeating stage bosses allows you to reclaim Bomberman capsules. The next page is an advertisement for Snoopy's first adventure for the Game Boy, Slated for release on December 21st, priced at 3,980 yen. The advertisement features Snoopy going shopping, posing the question of whether he can manage alone. The game involves navigating Snoopy across 45 stages within 3 distinct worlds: the Town World, Mountain World, and Dream World. Players guide Snoopy using directional panels, collecting items that Charlie Brown has requested. You can also use a password system to start from your favorite stage. The player must guide Snoopy and protect him from accidents to successfully complete the shopping task. Screenshots showcase gameplay with varied environments and obstacles. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy game Crayon Shin-Chan Aura's Gokigen Collection by Bandai, scheduled for release on December 20th with a price of 3,980 yen. The game features 14 different minigames, combining popular ones from previous Crayon Shin-Chan Game Boy titles with newly created ones. The minigames introduced include Naughty Naughty Maze, Hide and Seek, Action Athletic Meet. Players can select their favorite games from a menu. One of the minigames, Darumasan ga Koronda, Red Light Green Light, involves rapidly pressing the A button to advance towards the goal while avoiding being caught by the Oni, it. Another game is a tricycle race where players navigate a course, avoiding sand pits and holes. There's also a soccer game and a athletic competition. Find Nene's Bunny tasks players with locating Nene's Bunny from among several plushies. The game also features a story mode where players can collect stamps as they progress through the minigames, helping Shinosuke search for his missing sister, Himawari. The next page features the Game Boy game Midori no Makibao, a horse racing game by Tomy. In the game, players train Makibao to become a top racehorse, competing against rivals. The training involves physical conditioning and using special stallion cards during races to gain an advantage. There are 2 training locations, a mountain course and a training center. The mountain course focuses on improving dirt track performance and stamina, while the training center boosts speed and endurance. During races, players can use up to 2 cards. The cards provide various effects, from recovering stamina to causing other horses to fall. Some of the stallion cards include characters such as Ringo, Kansuke, Masatora, and Chubi, each with different abilities. This page is all about Super Donkey Kong 3, known internationally as Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. The page highlights various warp points that allow players to skip sections and head straight to the goal. It's presented as a collection of super technique secrets to discover. The article provides visual guides for finding hidden barrels, explaining how to use Dixie Kong's abilities to access these warps. Some of the techniques covered include defying the current, escaping through shutters, riverside races, slipping, and squirrel wheel tricks. Each warp involves performing specific actions, like throwing Dixie at certain spots, or using her ponytail spin. The guide has screenshots showing the exact locations and maneuvers required to trigger the warps. The next page features strategies for Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. One tip involves increasing your life count to 99 in the first course. The guide explains how to repeatedly enter and exit the bonus stage in the lakeside area to collect life balloons, essentially farming extra lives. There's also a section on the Wonder Project J2 game. It covers how to reliably obtain copper ore by having Josette learn to use a pickaxe and work in the mines, including the best location to mine for it. Additionally, it details a trick for increasing money in Wonder Project J2 by playing Josette's story adventure. It explains how to acquire money during the game, escape from the final boss, and repeat the process to gain infinite money. This page contains tips and tricks for various Super Famicom games. First, there's advice for Tower Dream, which suggests resetting the game after a spin to manipulate the results of slot machine events. Next is Yoshi's Panel de Pond, offering a way to increase the difficulty beyond the default hard setting by inputting a button combination on the difficulty selection screen to unlock SP Hard Mode, making the game even more challenging. A guide for Derby Stallion 96 explains how to start with 10,150,000,000 yen by naming your farm Muhammad. It also mentions the ability to see the ending and the special beginning when naming the farm as Muhammad. Screenshots of gameplay and character interactions are included, along with player comments. The next page presents Wizardry Gaiden 4, Throb of the Demon's Heart. Tips. It guides players to start at the north of level 8 in the ancient cave, at coordinates 004 east and 021 north. Defeat the Tai Mao. Then return to the castle with the Inru item. After this, warp to a new area called Lilgamen by going to 1B Ancient Cave, north 007 and east 015. In Lilgamen, 2 dungeons, Sanctuary, and Dragon's Cave await. Dragon's Cave appears after clearing Sanctuary. A trick is introduced to increase experience by repeatedly fighting Tai Mao by discarding and recovering the Inru item. It then describes a method to increase experience points quickly, using the Mahi attacks to weaken enemies, and using the Matu or Bamatu items to lower the entire party's armor class. The page gives instructions on how to get an item and increase party members, and describes a method to repeatedly fight the Diamond Knight and obtain more magic charms by equipping them. This page features a reader submission section called Everyone's Bulletin Board. It starts with a tip for Siren GB, the monster of Moonlight Village, on Game Boy, teaching players how to input names quickly using shortcuts. Then, for the Nintendo 64 game Super Mario 64, it shows how to access a hidden path. By wall kicking in a specific spot, players can reach a power star more easily. There are also tips for the Super Famicom game Marvelous, Another Treasure Island. One tip involves getting attacked by monkeys by irritating them repeatedly. Another tip shows a hidden Lucky Clover location if the player returns to a certain spot after progressing the game. It also describes how to beat a punch bag to find a lucky rock. Finally, it shows a funny hidden message in a tent, and the different personality actions of the main characters. The next page showcases Super Ultra techniques, beginning with Nintendo 64's Wave Race 64 trick, where the characters behind rotates by pressing A and R, then moving the stick left or right during an mix power boost. Then there are 2 unfortunate name tricks for Super Famicom's Cerebred Breeder 2i, using the names Cereburi and Wanasan as player names to trigger special messages and effects in the game. For Marvelous, Another Treasure Island on Super Famicom, it features a music-based health recovery method by recording Japanese enka music to a tape recorder at a jukebox. Super Famicom title Jikyu Power Pro Wrestling 96 features a Cyclone Clutch move that allows you to win the match by repeatedly performing the Cyclone Clutch. Finally, it includes a reader submission section for Mario Kart 64 techniques, offering cash and prizes for the best submissions. The page also includes the fax number and address for submitting tips. This page highlights Famimaga Land, a popular pre-release game experience. It's open every Saturday and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. with free admission, with special members days on Sundays. The page lists upcoming playable software for December 14-15 and December 21-22, with games that are scheduled to be released between December 27th and January 9th, and January 10th and January 16th respectively. Some titles for Super Famicom include Mask, Jikyu Powerful Pro Yakyu Twin, and Dragon Knight 4. For Game Boy, there is Super Chinese Fighter GB, Tetris Plus, and Detective Conan. PlayStation games include Kyubaku, Bloody Bride, and Mighty Hit. On the Sega Saturn, there is Grid Runner, Sui Kugai, Tenmei no Chikai, and Jisen Pakislat, Hishuhao 4, among others. Of the titles for the following week include Alkanoid Do It Again for the Super Famicom, and on the PlayStation are Lupin 2-1, Castle of Cagliostro Reunion, City Bravo, and Dukyusei Mahjong. And on the Sega Saturn is Super Casino Special, Funky Head Boxers, and Tengai Makyu, Daion no Mokushiroku. Finally, there's a preview of the next issue, which will feature Street Fighter 2i, Dragon Quest 2i, Mini Yonku Shining Scorpion Let's Go, and Blue Land Island Communication. Contact information for Famimaga Weekly is provided at the bottom. This page from Nintendo Power Magazine covers American 64 news, highlighting upcoming 64 titles for the year, including Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire, and Killer Instinct Gold. The page also focuses on the popularity of the N64 in America leading up to Christmas. NOAA, Nintendo of America, plans to ship 1.2 million units by the holiday season. Also featured are screenshots of Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey, a popular ice hockey game in America, and Cruisin' USA, an arcade port scheduled for release later in the year. The page includes a list of upcoming N64 titles for release. Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey and Mortal Kombat trilogy on November 15th, Killer Instinct Gold on November 25th, and Star Wars and Cruisin' USA on December 2nd. Finally, it shows a picture from a Toys R Us store in Georgia on 64 release day, showing how many people are in the N64 line. This page in Famimaga 64 magazine highlights Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire by Noah. The magazine claims that the game has an excellent storyline, which is a complex tale set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It involves Han Solo, Boba Fett, and the protagonist Dash Rendar, and the story promises adventure and intrigue, with the player taking on the role of Dash Rendar, who is hired by Princess Leia to protect Luke Skywalker from Darth Vader. The page features screenshots of the game's stages, including a pilot stage and a commando stage, and characters such as Dash Rendar and Boba Fett. The reviewer mentions that the game includes action and adventure elements with 10 stages, and encourages players to immerse themselves in the experience. The game's completion is considered high, and a release date is not mentioned. This page features the USA Hotline section from the magazine, highlighting upcoming or newly released games in America. First up is Killer Instinct Gold by Noah. The reviewer emphasizes the improved graphics in 3Ds, particularly in the arenas. The dynamic camera system allows for better views, zooming in during ultra combos. It appeals to fans, but no Japanese release is planned. Next is Roadrunner 64 by Big Bang, a modern take on the classic puzzle game. Players navigate 3D mazes, collecting items while avoiding enemies and traps. The camera system is being designed for optimal viewing. A release is scheduled for the following year. Finally, Dark Rift by Big Tokai is introduced as a fighting game with fantasy elements. The game features 60 frames per second animations, lighting effects, and 8 playable characters. Despite some dark scenes, it features a touch of black humor. With a release expected the following year, the reviewer believes this game is a fighting game by Tokai, with many splendid splatter-like fantasy characters. It is hoped that the game will be released in Japan. The next page is an advertisement for Satellaview Station, Nintendo's unreleased software. It promotes a special broadcast of Special T-Shot, which is based on the popular Kirby's Dream Course. Satellaview offers unreleased software to its users. It will feature the unreleased software Special T-Shot, a version of Kirby's Dream Course. There is an event that involves playing Special T-Shot and competing for the best score. Players can choose between the Junior Tournament with 4 courses and 32 holes, and the Special Tournament with 8 courses and 4 holes. The deadline for entries is January 17, 1997. The page also features information about Famimaga 64 winners, and a report on an event held at Makuhari Messe. There is a photo of a woman posing in front of a sign that says, "Photographing prohibited." Finally, the page lists the Satellaview broadcast schedule for December 15-21 and December 22-28, featuring titles such as RPG Tool 2, Zero, Special T-Shot, and the 4th week of Satellic Year-End Jumbo Treasure Quiz. This page is a reader's submission section titled RGB Aniac from Famimaga 64. The editorial team is changing, and the content will remain maniacal as usual. Readers have submitted drawings based on the theme of similar people. Some submissions include characters who look alike or share similarities, characters who resemble each other, a large collection of Moogles from Final Fantasy, characters from Tales of Phantasia and Star Ocean who share the same voice actor, a pair of characters who look similar despite having different personalities, Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter as a classic fighting game pairing, characters from Seiken Densetsu 3 and FF6. One submission is for the song on the game music. The reader recalls playing Dragon Quest II and being moved by the love song and the ending theme, "This Road, My Journey." They also mention other favorite songs and express a desire for sheet music. Other readers share their favorite songs. The reader recommends all the songs from Saga 13 and lists Epilogue, Wiping Away Tears, The Land of Peace, and Steslos as personal favorites. A reader writes about the music in the game Rudra's Hidden Treasure, mentioning their love for the Between Two Worlds theme. A reader was inspired to buy a keyboard and learn to play the game's music, focusing on the new Hall of Sincerity theme. This page is a collection of reader submissions to the Ohagaki Mania no Sono corner of Famimaga 64. The page includes various fan-made comics, illustrations, and humorous comments about games. Topics range from Final Fantasy characters in humorous situations, jokes about the game Mario Waves 64, and observations about RPGs. One reader asks why certain characters, like the Dark Mage, are not popular. Another submission suggests fan-made comics are well received. A submission mentions the trouble of losing one's temper due to game issues, and a tip is given to avoid destroying the reset button on the console. There is also a question about whether readers tell their parents they submit to the column. A reader recommends using a board for drawings, but is worried if it's okay, because it's not good for printing. The editorial team says that it is fine if it is not too big. The next page showcases fan-made artwork, comics, and comments sent in by readers. The Maniac Picture Gallery features illustrations, including Ubello and Yumna from Fire Emblem, noted for its unique coloring style, Rydia from Final Fantasy IV, and the Magical Drop series. Comments praise the artwork's unique touch, color schemes, and the artist's skills. Romancing Saga 3 and Super Robot Wars are mentioned in other submissions. The page also includes a section where readers can send in submissions. The editorial team mentions the theme for the next submissions will be 10 years old. A reader shares their love for the FC game, Okotsuki Kyu, for its story and characters, particularly the romance between the characters. Another recommendation is for Seiken, praising its characters, BGM, and gameplay. This page is an advertisement for 2 upcoming games. First is Ego. Kaminari no Gotoku Chukusoku Ego. For the Nintendo 64, a Go game promising fast-paced play with intelligent AI, which releases in April 1997. The game features a Toryumon mode, where players can test their Go skills against AI opponents. Second is Funitaro, for the Super Famicom, a fishing game set in the Izu Islands, which releases in February 1997. The game boasts realistic fishing locations and a variety of fish to catch, offering both lure and bait fishing options. The next page features a preview of 2 upcoming Nintendo 64 games. First, Mahjong 64, which allows you to learn Mahjong in a university-themed mode, challenging professors and classmates. The game offers 40 different curriculum types and evaluates players based on elements like win rate and hand composition. Second, Doraemon, Nobita to Mitsu no Seirei. Doraemon, Nobita and the 3 Fairy Spirit Stones, an action game where you control Doraemon and his friends using various gadgets to battle enemies and clear stages. The game showcases the character's expressions during combat, such as Nobita aiming his pistol, or Giant unleashing his singing attack. This page is a release calendar for upcoming games on the Super Famicom, Nintendo 64, and Game Boy. For the Super Famicom, some titles include Mission Impossible, Super Bomberman 5, Street Fighter 02, and Donald Duck's Maui Mallard. On the Nintendo 64, the calendar includes Mario Kart 64, J-League Dynamite Soccer 64, Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire, Blastozer, 064, and GoldenEye 007. The Game Boy section lists titles like Pocket Puyo Puyo 2, Gege no Kitaro, Mini 4-Boy, and Bomberman GB3. The page provides release dates and prices when available, with several games marked as unreleased. A preview of upcoming video game releases highlights a Mario Kart 64 strategy guide, technical support for J-League, and player data for Hyper 3D Baseball. Release dates and prices are given for various titles, including Tetris Plus, Super Black Base Pocket, Detective Conan, and Kirby's Dream Land. Other games like Taito Variety Pack and Pocket Monsters 2, Gold and Silver are also listed. Virtual Boy games, Nintendo 64 releases, and Super Famicom/Game Boy re-releases are detailed. Notable news includes a Star Fox 64 delay and the announcement of Soup for Game Boy. A Fanta Soda N64 giveaway is also advertised. The next page features 2 games, J.League Soccer and Mahjong Master. J.League Soccer boasts realistic action with motion-captured players, precise controls, and immersive gameplay. It includes the 96 season data, 16 teams, 16 players per team, and 16 stadiums. The game offers formation editing, strategy settings, and a trade system, with commentary by TBS announcer Daisuke Shimizu, and supports up to 4 players. Mahjong Master focuses on realistic mahjong gameplay, featuring 19 opponents with unique playing styles and personalities. The game includes various modes, such as free battle, story, battle, and quiz, designed for both beginners and experienced players, and offers a fair and authentic mahjong experience. It was released on December 20th and cost 9,800 yen. This page is a full-page advertisement for J.League Perfect Striker, a soccer game for the 64, released on December 20th. It features realistic soccer action and includes the 1996 season data, with a price of 9,800 yen. The ad highlights hard impact and includes the Konami logo. This page is a promotional advertisement for the game Mario Kart 64 and an event called the Time Trial Campaign, happening from December 14th to February 2nd. Players are challenged to achieve a specific time on the Mario Circuit course, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds to get a license card. Additionally, 10,000 people will be selected by lottery to receive an original gold controller. Phone numbers are listed for inquiries.